Hi, my name is Nadia and welcome to my channel called Grieving But Living. I wanted to thank everyone who tuned in to my first video. I really appreciate the support and I hope that the video helped you in some way. Make sure to share my channel with anyone you think could benefit from hearing about loss or just having a place to go where there is absolutely no judgment. Today I wanted to talk about the timeline of loss, and by that I mean several things. Firstly, there is no timeline for grief or loss. Everyone grieves differently, and there is never a rush to get over it or move on. And second, the timeline of loss will be different to the people around you who either haven't lost or weren't as close to the loved one. For you, 1 year might feel like 1 minute because you are still so present in the loss and still analyzing, questioning, coming to terms with the loss. So time moves differently for you, and you will always move forward with the loss. You will never leave it behind or forget about it. However, after a loss, those who haven't lost or weren't as close will most likely tell you it's time to let go or move on. Now, this is a very tough thing to comprehend. You don't understand how they could possibly tell you to forget about a loss that is so prevalent in your life and always will be. One thing that personally bugged me is that if some amount of time had gone by after my brother passed away and I wasn't in the best mood because of the loss, and people asked me, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" I would just be baffled that they didn't know that the reason I'm not doing so well is still the same reason I wasn't doing well a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, a couple years ago. That is probably the forefront of the issues I'm going through for a while. Like, that's always going to be the main reason that I'm upset. Nora McNerney does an amazing job at discussing this subject. I've taken a few points from her TED Talk that I will link down below. I highly suggest watching the whole thing. Nora is an author who went through a miscarriage and the loss of her father and husband due to cancer. One thing she says at the very beginning of the TED Talk really resonated with me. She says, "The reaction I get is, I can't imagine, and I think that you can, and you should, because someday it's going to happen to you." Of course, that might be your first instinct, to let that person know that you can't imagine the pain that they're going through. But I think Nora makes a really good point because she's emphasizing how important it is to cherish what you have while you have it, and that you should imagine what life could be like if you lose the ones around you, because nobody's promised a tomorrow. Another thing Nora says is she's trying to make people comfortable with the uncomfortable, and grief is so uncomfortable, especially if it's someone else's. I think it is so important to teach grief at school. Teach children, teenagers, the best way to respond to someone who's grieving. This is not something you should know, but it's something that we need to spread awareness about. There are definitely things you should avoid because they're very insensitive, and they're usually things that we're not going to be able to do, like move on and let it go. Nora also brings up talking about your loved one in the present tense. I did this at the beginning, where I talked about Dan in the present tense. I said he is, he's doing, all of that. And it did make me feel a little bit crazy. But I think we have every right to talk about this person as if they're still here, because they are. They're present in everything we do in our lives. Their death has made us the person that we are today, and without them, we wouldn't be on the path that we are now. And I think that is super important to remember. It definitely helps me to think that Dan's loss got me into psychology and on the path to helping other grieving families and children. But of course it's tough because I never wanted to lose Dan. It's never something I thought would happen, but now that it has, I need to turn it into a positive as much as I can. And it's really hard to do. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. You don't get it until you get it, and that's always going to be true. You don't know what swimming is like until you learn it. You don't know what a certain food tastes like until you taste it. And you don't fully understand a loss until you lose someone. So be considerate, be careful and cautious with your words. We are never going to move on from our loss. We're going to move forward with the people we've lost and integrate them into our new lives and our new chapters. Please check out Nora's TED Talk. It is a very well said explanation of what I just spark noted. Spark noted? Not all wounds are meant to heal. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you next time. Take care.